What makes a video game memorable? What makes it stick for days, months, and maybe even years in your head? What makes some games so special to us that we just can't help but remember what we experienced playing them? If you are watching this, you probably have played a huge number of video games, and probably have a wide range of experiences with them, ranging from bad to exceptional. I will never forget that grand feeling the first time I was carried over to Anne Orlando. Nor will I ever forget that feeling of safety that Firelink Shrine offered me, like an embrace from a beloved one. I will never forget that thrill of me beating Ornstein and Smough for the first time. Nor will I ever forget chatting with the gentle giant, that is Goth, the Dragon Slayer.
A visitor, have we? Thou must be the one who freed Artorias.
There is a reason Dark Souls is so fondly remembered, and just lives rent-free in our heads. We associate these special moments with specific feelings. Not all of us are going to remember the exact same thing and associate them with the same feelings, however, because we are all different in our own ways. For me personally, the serene moments stand out more, and I find myself cherishing them even more. I am naturally an anxious person. I tend to fear the future, the unknown, exam, new things, new experiences. I wish to be able to be confident enough in myself in the future, so that such things won't make me stressed out. And just maybe for that reason, I tend to seek comfort and serenity in some games and cherish these moments. For example, the music of Zora's Domain in Zelda Ocarina of Time. Wandering the green grassy fields in Breath of the Wild. Or entering Hateno Village for the first time. Would just for the feeling of peace, knowing that all will be alright. Maybe swimming with the whales in Abzu filled me with a sense of wonder. Before witnessing what is lying at the bottom of the ocean, witnessing the emptiness, darkness, and quietness there. Reaching the top of the mountain journey, flying above it with grace while witnessing its beauty. Feeling dread and fear while playing Resident Evil 4 as a kid. And that feeling of relief the first time you hear the save room's theme while it rains outside. Two of the most important components that give a game its identity are its music and atmosphere. It is because of them that I hold a lot of these moments so dear in my heart. Imagine playing Minecraft without the music, and just try to imagine how much of a change that would instill to our experience of the game. Imagine playing Zelda Breath of the Wild without its carefully crafted atmosphere that invokes sadness, emptiness, and yet at the same time serene, hopeful, and beautiful emotions in you at the same time. These were careful choices by the developers to make an identity for their game, so that one day in the future you will remember them as such. For how else is a game supposed to stand out and give you a one-of-a-kind experience? How else is a game supposed to be memorable? I still remember the first time I booted up God of War 2018 when I was a boy. I just purchased the game after hearing all the positive reviews about it on the internet. The first thing I saw was Kratos holding an axe, ready to cut a tree. At that time, Kratos was known as this angry, hateful, rage incarnate that knows nothing but revenge. But the intro to God of War 2018 felt emotional. The game makes you feel it, even down to the way Kratos touches the tree before cutting it. It lets us know that this tree, for some reason, has significance to him. In just a couple of minutes, the performance of Christopher Judge and the music that accompanied it created an atmosphere, an expectation of what we will see in the game. After all these years, I still associate God of War 2018 with feelings of maturity, self-improvement, and love. It was the first time Kid Me experienced such a wonderfully told story, and it opened my eyes to what video games can be, with enough passion and effort put behind them. Music has the ability to transport you to another world. I remember feeling that the first time I stepped into Zora's domain in Ocarina of Time. Those instruments made me feel like I was in an actual resort. I felt the waters from the waterfall. I saw the reflections of the pond in the cave. I heard the echoes bounce off the walls of the cave. It really was just an incredible feeling. The first thing I did after I entered Zora's domain was add it to my playlist. It was just that beautiful. Another example of this is when I played Persona 5. My god, is the Persona music just that beautiful, incredible. We all know that. Beneath the Mask is perhaps the single most piece of music that I've been hearing my entire life, without it getting old. And the thing is, I fell in love with it by accident. I didn't discover it from playing Persona 5, no. I think I found it from a YouTube video background or something like that. But regardless, I've been listening to it for about 4 years before I ever got around to play Persona 5. Beneath the Mask single-handedly made studying math more bearable for me, and it was the main reason why I got into the Persona series as a whole. It is that damn good. Before playing Persona 5, I was just trying to imagine what type of game Persona 5 was, to have such chill music in it. So I built this kind of mental image of mine of what Persona 5 was. The only references I had was beneath the mask and the picture of all the Persona 5 characters. And to be honest, I can't fully recall what that image was, but the most important thing in that image was that it represented this sort of serenity, this calmness, this peacefulness. After playing the game, I found out that Beneath the Mask plays while you are roaming the overworld, Japan, if you can call it that. Now I associate Beneath the Mask with roaming Japan stress-free under the rain. There is actually a rain version for Beneath the Mask with fewer instruments. And I just love how I had a perception of what Persona was supposed to be before and after playing it. And it just makes Persona 5 that much more of a memorable game for me. I didn't play Mario 64 on Nintendo 64 when it came out in 1996, so I have no nostalgic connection at all to the game. I played it on an emulator, but that didn't change how I felt about the game. Even after all these years since 1996, it still is an objectively extremely fun game. I told myself, if I am having fun with it now, I can only imagine the people's experience with it in 1996, since it was considered one of the first actual good 3D games. Okay, so the gameplay is extremely solid, but why do we still remember Mario 64 so fondly even today? The gameplay is fun, sure, but is that what we remember the most from it? Or was it the general feeling we got from playing it? Hearing the birds chirping outside, Princess Peach's castle. The happy, upbeat, and goofy music when we first dropped in Baba on the battlefield. The serene music at the water levels. The spookiness we got from Big Boo's haunt. The burning hell level hidden in the underground of the castle. Or maybe Shifting Sandland, a level we get to by trying to catch a rabbit. Like seriously, how can anyone forget about that? Add to all that the unique aesthetic of the Nintendo 64's graphics, which some indie games still try to imitate to invoke this nostalgia feeling. and we get a perfect formula for making a game live rent-free in one's head. I had a lot of memorable moments with Breath of the Wild, but what surprises me the most is that most of these moments aren't important so to say in the game, but it felt important for me at the time. That is what makes it feel even more special for me. Riding a horse during the day for the first time, only to listen to the horse riding day theme. Entering a Sheikah shrine and hearing the unique sounding synths, which just tells you how much of an advanced species the Sheikah really were. Also, how much of a banger the music is, despite it only being almost one song with a couple of reshuffles and mixings. In addition, some shrines on the outside have specific pieces of music based on whether the shrine was in a cave, on seaside, or on a mountain. I personally consider these some of the most beautiful sounding pieces of music in the game. There are of course other examples of music that plays in important parts of the game, like Catena Village, Divine Beast Meadow, Storming Hyrule Castle, and of course the final battle of Ganon. But for some reason, I find myself remembering the examples from before more fondly than them. Maybe because I associate certain emotions and memories with them, and I think they feel unique to each person. I could have listened to Horse Riding Day for the first time in a certain place on the map, but another person may have heard it somewhere else, leading us to having different impressions of it. Dark Souls is a masterpiece. I am perhaps the billionth person on YouTube to say this statement, but I really can't state it enough, just how wonderful of a game it is. The feelings and memories that I got from these games are so special, so unique, and so memorable that I'm afraid no other game in the future will be able to top it. The first time I ever booted the game, I was welcomed with this. The sound of the beautiful harp, with chimes and violins in the background, not to forget the sound of the female vocalist, which brings it all together. I didn't know it at the time, but I was about to play one of the greatest games of all time. After you kill the stray demon and get carried from the undead asylum by the huge bird, you arrive in Firelink Shrine, one of few safe havens left in this forsaken world. There you can rest by the bonfire and interact with NPCs, all while in the background comforting yet melancholic soundtrack plays, reminding us that even though this world is filled with countless hardships, there is still beauty to be found here. The ending of games are sometimes expected to be this bombastic event, where everything is resolved, but not in Dark Souls. As you enter the final arena located in the kiln of the first flame, what you find is a husk. What is supposed to be an almighty king is nothing but a shell of his old self. He is so weak to the point that he is the only parryable boss in the game. And the music complements this perfectly. It captures that feeling of someone being past his prime, who's awaiting his demise. He's awaiting someone that can take his place as fuel for the first flame. There are many other examples of memorable moments in Dark Souls, but I can never do the game justice with this one video. Maybe I will do a video talking entirely about Dark Souls and memorable moments in the future. I don't consider myself a full-on Nier fan. I only played Nier Automata, and I still haven't played Replicant nor any of the Drakengard games. But I will tell you this, the Nier series has some of the most beautiful sounding music in any video game that I've ever heard. For me, Nier Automata is a $60 album, with a free game on the side. So many incredible soundtracks like The Fortress of Lies, Peaceful Sleep, Pascal, The Forest Kingdom, and more. All this music made this game unforgettable for me. Each moment in the game was solidified in my mind even more because of the music. I mean, please, just listen to this. How can you not love this? This game gives me a feeling, a unique feeling, that no other game can match. It will always live rent-free in my head. We talked about a lot of examples in this video of memorable video games. And my main point was that music and atmosphere contribute the most to the game's memorability. While story and gameplay also play a role in this, I would argue that music and atmosphere have a bigger role to play. To be honest, these days I find myself trying to find games that provide extremely unique experiences through their music and atmosphere. I'm not saying I enjoy games with bad gameplay mechanics, but what I'm trying to say is, even if a game has solid gameplay and story, it is the music and atmosphere that push a game to reach greater heights. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I know saying this is very generic, but genuinely, thank you. And consider subscribing for more videos like this. And please leave a comment if you want me to talk about games that are unforgettable for you. If you have any suggestions for improvements to my videos, please don't hesitate to leave a comment. Or if there are any topics that you would like me to talk about relating to video games, or even anime and movies, please do tell me. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.